and welcome to In Stitches Fiber Arts. Today we're going to be making a crochet tank top like the one I'm wearing. It's made with a DK or a worsted weight yarn. I would recommend a cotton or an acrylic or a blend of the two fabrics. And I used a 2.75 millimeter hook to make the one that I'm wearing now. You can use any crochet hook that works best for you and meets the gauge and the tension that is specific to the way that you would like to make your tank top. So I'm just going to model it a little bit right now so you can see how it fits. So as you can tell, it's a little bit of a form-fitting top. It's meant to be snug to the body. You can, of course, adjust your sizing as you would be most comfortable wearing your tank top and just add more stitches to each row. But other than that, I'm excited to get started. We're going to start by making the back panel portion of the tank top. And we're going to start from the top down, so right along the back of the neckline. I'm going to make a slip knot with my yarn. And then I'm going to chain 40. So here's a chain of 10, and I'm just going to continue making 30 more chains, and I'll meet you back. So here's my chain of 30, my chain of 40 plus the first 10 chains that I showed you. And I also forgot to mention that I'm using a 2.75 millimeter hook. You can use the hook that you prefer or that will give you the right gauge and tension for the project. I'm using a smaller hook because I'd like tighter stitches and a tighter gauge for my tank top. So after making a chain of 40, I'm going to turn my work, chain 1 as the turning chain, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet back down the row of 40 stitches, 40 chains. And I'm going to do that by going through the back loop of the stitches. And I'm doing that to make a cleaner line of stitches for when we finish the line of the collar. So to make a single crochet, insert your hook through that back loop that's behind the two main loops, the front loops of your stitch. Pull up a loop and then pull through 2. So insert your hook through that back loop, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2. And we'll do that 1 or 2 more times. So insert your hook through the loop, pull up 1 loop of yarn, and then pull through 2. And I'm going to continue on in this way all the way down the row until I get to the end, making 1 single crochet in each of the back loops of the stitches. And I'll meet you back when we get to the end of the row. Now that my chain of 40 has 1 row of single crochet all the way down the row, I'm going to chain 1 to turn my work, and I'm going to add one single crochet through the back loop of the work all the way down. And I'm choosing to use the back loop so then there's a little bit of texture and ribbing in the tank top. It's up to you if you'd like to go through both loops and make the fabric a little bit thicker and also make a flatter, smoother line through the fabric. That's your choice. I prefer the ribbing look. So that means that for going through the every even row of the work, I will be working through the front loops, and every odd row or working through the front of the work, I'll be working through the back loops, and that'll just keep the same ribbing technique that I prefer for the work. So I've chained one, made it to the end of the row, and now we're just going to add a couple more single crochet and then an increase on this end as well for the symmetry of the shirt. So I'm in the second to last chain, and I'm going to add another increase stitch. So here's the first single crochet, and here's the second. And then I'm going to finish the row with one single crochet in the last stitch. Chain one and turn the work. And we'll be continuing on in this same way for about 22 rows, or until you reach right at your underarm, the line of your underarm, which is where we're going to connect the front to the back of the shirt after making the front panel. So, but before we do that, I want to go through one more example of the increase stitch and then let you go on your way. And I also want to recommend, if you have a smaller frame or you'd like a smaller fit for your tank top, you can do increase stitches in every other row. I prefer to do increases in every row of the panels because I need a larger fit for my body. So that's up to you, and it's just something you'll have to gauge and measure and kind of experiment with as you make your tank top. So I've chained one, I've turned my work, and I'm going to add one single crochet in the first stitch of the row, and then I'm going to do an increase and I believe this is the front of the work, so I want to work in the back loops, not the front loops, to make that ribbing. So let's start again. I'm going to make a single crochet through the back loop, and then I'm going to go into the second stitch and make an increase. And then I'm going to continue on with single crochets through the back loop all the way down the row. And then when I get to the end of the row, I'm going to do another increase stitch in the second to last stitch of the row to create that same increase. And I will meet you back with an example of the back panel, the back top portion of the panel finished. So here's a sample of another, I forgot what the word is, another tank top that I started working on. And you can see that it makes a gradual increase, just a gradual angle on each edge because of the increases. I started with the 40 stitches, and then because of the increases ended with 70. And I have about 22, I believe I have 22 rows. I have about 20 rows of single crochet through the back or the front loop, depending on the side of the work. So now what we're going to do is add the straps, the shoulder straps of the tank top, and I have one made already. So as you can see, the strap is long enough to go from the back of your shoulders all the way around to the front. So it's the strap in its entirety, and I'll show you how to make it on the strap on the other side. And then the next step after making the strap is to connect the two ends of the strap to start making the front panel. So let's back up a few steps, and we're just going to start with one of the straps to show you how to make that. So the strap is made, and each one should be exactly the same. So because I started the left back panel strap with on the far left side of the work, I'm going to start the second strap in the same manner on the far left side. And I made my straps 10 stitches wide. So that's something that you can determine as well if you like a little bit of a wider strap or a narrower strap. But we're going to get started by attaching the yarn. Ten stitches out from the end of the right side of the work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to attach the yarn through both loops just to make it more secure. So I'm not going to make a slip knot this time. I'm going to wrap the yarn around my finger and then through the hook and pull it through the 10th chain, the 10th stitch from, if it'll work for me. And then I'm going to leave the tail end to the side, and I'm going to pull up one chain. I'm going to chain one through the work and then chain one more time to secure it. And that's just an easier way for me to connect the work. There's multiple ways to connect your work, your working yarn to your work as you go, and this is the way that works best for me. So I'm going to go through the back loop, because this is the front of the work, the back loop of that same 10th stitch, and then I'm going to work a single crochet through each of the 10 stitches. And you're not going to make any increases like you did through the body of the work, because we just want the edges of the straps to be even. So I'm working towards the end of the panel, and I have one more single crochet to work into, and then I'm going to chain one and I'm going to turn the work, and then I'm going to continue on making one single crochet in each stitch across, this time through the front loops because this is the back of the work and I want that same ribbing. And I'm going to work single crochets back and forth across these 10 stitches until the strap reaches the front, all the way around to the front of my chest. And the length of the strap is up to you. I can count out the stitches that are in the first one for you, so you have an idea of how many to make. My straps tend to be a little bit higher because I like a higher neckline on my tank top. It's up to you if you want to make it longer and have a deeper neckline in your tank top. So let's count out the number of stitches. or the number of rows to give you an idea. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 26. I have 26 rows of single crochets to make each strap. So I'm going to finish up the second strap, and then I will meet you back once both straps are done to start the front panel of the work. I'm now on the last row of the second strap that I've been working on off camera. I'm going to finish the row, then add back the chains that are in between the body of the work. You can either do the same amount that's in the back panel, or you can do a few more stitches. If you have a wider frame, that's what I'm going to do, is add 10 additional stitches to the middle of the chains that we make in the middle of between the straps. So then just for a wider fit. And then we're going to connect the chain that we make to the second strap. So let's get that started. I'm going to make the last row of 10 stitches across the strap. And then we have 10 stitches on each strap and 40 stitches total for the back panel. So that means that we need to make at least 20 stitches, 20 chains to connect the two straps together. So I'm actually going to make a chain of 30. You can make a chain of the size that you would like. So, and be careful not to twist your chain as you make it. So that's 10. 20. So you could stop here, or I'm going to make an additional 10 stitches, and I'm just going to count them really quickly. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So after making the chain the desired length that you'd like, grab your second strap and then just make a single crochet through the back loops. In this case, the front loop, because we're working on the back of the work, directly onto the work. And it's as simple as that. So I just made a single crochet right off of the chain. And then I'm going to continue on making a row of single crochet on the second strap. And in this way, we have just started the front panel of the tank top. So I just have one more stitch to work into. And then I'm going to chain one and turn the work. So we can see that the work is now connected. Hopefully I did this correctly. Yeah. And this is the front of the work now. So we're just going to chain one. And just as we started the back panel, we're going to do increases on the second stitch from the end of the work. And then we're going to just continue to build out the front panel of the tank top. So we'll do a little bit together. So I did a chain one to turn. And then this is the front of the work, so I'm going to be working through the back loops only. Through the first 10 stitches. And here is the second chain, the second stitch from the end of the work. So I'm going to add an additional single crochet as an increase. And then continue on. Down the strap until I reach the first chain. And it's up to you how you want to work into the chain so that it's not twisted. I'm going to work through the back loops as we did before. I believe this is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it is 10. No, it's 9. Okay. So one more stitch into the strap, and then I'm going to turn the chain slightly and work into those back loops of the chain. And then just continue on. This is a little bit trickier just because we're back to a beginning chain. And be careful not to make your stitches too tight because it'll be harder to work into later. But just continue on making single crochets through your chain, connecting the straps to the body of your tank top. And then I will meet you back at the end of the row to show you one more time how to make that increase. I'll meet you back. So I have 2 stitches left in the row. You can see that I completed making single crochets along the chain in between I want to make sure my chain isn't twisted. There we go. Between the straps. And then I'm going to just add that same increase stitch on the second to last stitch, and then complete the row with 1 single crochet. And then chain the work and turn. So turn the work, and then continue on in the same way. Make 1 single crochet across every stitch, an increase in the second chain from the beginning and end of the row, and make as many rows as you have from the front panel to the back panel so that they match and they're symmetrical. And I will meet you back with the next steps. So this particular version of the tank top is the one I started with first, and you can see it's worked up quite nicely, and it's a little bit further along than the other ones. You can see it has a front and a back panel, and that the panels are already connected. So I'm just going to walk you through the next steps for how to finish the body of the tank top, and then we'll get to finishing the hems of the the underarms and the neckline. So you're going to continue working the front body panel of the tank top, and then the two pieces will be separate, the front and the back. And much the same way you connected the straps, you're going to connect the underarm portion. And I added 6 stitches the same way we added stitches in between the front the front 2 strap pieces. I added 6 stitches chains between the front and the back panel just to give a little bit more room under the underarm. You can connect them directly, the 2 panels. This would be where the 2 yellow pieces are, or you can add additional chains to give more room to the fit. I'm not going to show how to connect the front and the back panels just because it's very similar to how to connect the straps and the back panel to the front panel as we just showed. So this particular version is also striped, which is also a nice addition if you'd like to add stripes. And what that would mean is just cutting off and adding yarn much like we did the strap as you go at the end of the row. And so you can change colors that way too and make a striped tank top as well. And just continue working the panels until you get, I just flipped it upside down, until you get to the desired length that you like. And you can try it on as you go. I definitely recommend that. And then I just add 3 to 5 slip stitches to the end of the work, just so then the hemline is more even. And then I would just chain 1 and leave a little bit of enough yarn to weave in your end. And then that's the end of the body of the work. And then all we have to do is finish up the hemlines around the underarms and the neckline. So you can see that the difference here, because I did one underarm already, is that the finished hemline, it lays flat and it's a little bit cinched together, so you get a tighter fit, whereas these strands of yarn have not been hidden or woven in yet, so they still need finishing for the hemline. So we're going to get started on that right now. This is I'm showing you the underarm right now. And I'm going to grab my yarn. And I'm going to work at the very middle of the underarm, just so that it's easier to have a little bit more symmetry in the work. And I'm going to work through both loops of the stitches. So I'm going to put my hook through the 2 loops in the stitch, and then I'm going to draw up my working yarn. Careful not to lose your end. And then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to add a single crochet to secure the stitch. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in every stitch around the armhole. And some of them are a little bit harder to see and harder to determine, but every fourth or fifth stitch or so, I would skip. So then the work is a little bit more cinched and a little bit of a tighter fit around your underarms. This is important so the work doesn't sag, especially if you're using a cotton blend that doesn't have as much give or elasticity as a wool yarn. And it's recommended to use acrylic or cotton or a blend of acrylic and cotton because this is a summer tank top. So I'm going to I have to decide where I want to put my next stitch. I'm going to put my next stitch right here between the blue and the yellow. And then I'm going to skip this stretched out stitch and I'm going to put another stitch a little bit ahead of it. And I'm tucking in the ends as I go. So I'm just letting them fall on top of the work, and I'm keeping them connected to the single crochets. And in this way, I'm cleaning up the edges and I'm also cinching together the work so I have a better fit around my arms. So I'm going to put another single crochet here. And it doesn't matter too much how many stitches you choose to put into the underarm portion of the tank top. Just make sure you have the same amount of stitches on the front and the back panels. So you have an even tension or an even size armhole on either side. So I'm going to skip another stitch. And then I'm just going to keep working. And it looks a little bit messy for now, but then we'll clean up the row with another, or the armhole with another set of stitches. So continue working in this way all the way around your work. I'm having a hard time seeing where to put my stitches. And then I will meet you back when the single crochet row is done. So I've just made it around the armhole with single crochets, and I connected the row. I'll undo it and redo it. I connected the round of single crochets with a slip stitch from the last stitch to the first stitch. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to do a slip stitch row all the way around just to clean up the end and make it the edge and make it a little bit more, just a little bit nicer looking. So I'm going to start with a slip stitch through the front loop, and then I'm going to do another one and another. And I'm going to continue on making slip stitches through the front loop of each single crochet all the way around the armhole. And I will meet you back once that is done. I am finishing my round of slip stitches around the armhole with one more slip stitch to the end of the round, and then I'm going to make a slip knot to tie off and finish the armhole. And that's all I did for securing and tightening up the work of the first armhole as well. So all that's left to do is do the exact same thing as we just did for the first armhole, for the second armhole, and then also for the neckline. And that's it. Then your tank top is done.